Hi there, welcome to my views on news. Two news stories for you. First contact happened between Ethiopian government and the new US government. First high level contact. We have been talking about the likely nature of relations between Ethiopia and the US, Eritrea and the US, because new administration in the US is overhauling US foreign policy and US aid policies for foreign countries. Ethiopia is the largest recipient of US aid in Africa. That is why this engagement matters. Imabi talked to Marco Rubio, US Secretary of State. What did the two discuss? Secondly, Fana TV broadcast its documentary about Birtukan, the Masgan's case a few hours ago. The case seems to be taking a new turn. Who should be relied on? EBS or Fana TV? Let's start, viewers. So, firstly, Ethiopian PM talked to Marco Rubio, new US Secretary of State. The two held telephonic conversation a few hours ago. Marco Rubio in the past met with Skandar Naga, if you remember. Back then, Skandar was a political worker struggling against the Ethiopian federal government. And back then, Marco Rubio praised Skandar Naga's fight for democracy, for transparency in Ethiopia. Later, Skandar Naga, I think meeting happened in the US. Later, we saw that Skandar Naga chose the path of armed struggle. He took up arms and he joined Fano fighters. So it was being said when Marco Rubio was appointed as US Secretary of State that he might talk to Ethiopian federal government and pressurize the federal government to solve the issue in Amhara through dialogue. Telephonic conversation between Marco Rubio and PM Abiy happened a few hours ago. After that, US State Department issued a statement. The statement mentions two important points. Brief statement. Firstly, the two leaders discussed regional peace and security. What does it mean? Where is Ethiopia involved regionally? Where can Ethiopia play a role in regional peace and stability? Sudan, firstly, I think it wouldn't be surprising if we came to know that the two discuss Sudan, Sudanese civil war. Secondly, South Sudan. Thirdly, Somalia, where US is conducting strikes. Ethiopia is US partner there in the fight against Al-Shabaab. South Sudan, where war is very likely because Riek Machar has been arrested by Salva Kiir. US is scaling down its diplomatic presence in Juba. Norway closed its embassy in Juba yesterday. So there is fear of war there. Sudan, war ongoing for almost 2 years. Sudan military retaking territories. Darfur could be a deadly battlefield in coming days if Sudan military decides to push into Darfur. Ethiopia, Eritrea tensions, were they discussed or not? But again, it's a regional issue. And lastly, Govt, Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam. In the past, Donald Trump government, Donald Trump himself mediated between Ethiopia and Egypt over Govt. Egypt again wants US to put pressure upon Ethiopia on the issue of Govt. So these are the regional issues, I think, which might have been discussed, though no details shared. Second, two leaders discussed issues related to prosperity and peace in Ethiopia. US Marco Rubio announced support for prosperity and peace in Ethiopia. What does it mean? Diplomatic language, but I think here Marco Rubio pledged support for development projects in Ethiopia. Maybe US could announce development aid for Ethiopia, maybe food aid to incoming days. And secondly, peace. The two talked about peace in Ethiopia. US declared its support. Tigray, Amhara, Oromo. Three main zones where three main regional states where federal government and regional parties, regional players are involved in deadlocks. In Amhara, armed conflict ongoing for almost 2 years. In Oromia, armed conflict for years. In Tigray, a new conflict is brewing between the federal government and regional players, military and TPLF. The issue of appointment of new president is turning into a very thorny issue. So all these issues might have been discussed. It's a very brief statement, nothing said in concrete in the statement by US State Department. We don't know actually what they discussed, but I try to share my analysis with you. In coming days, we'll see what is going to be the impact of this call between Marco Rubio and PM Abiy. PM Abiy's government needs the US. Why? Because PM Abiy's government has acquired loans from the IMF and World Bank. It is about to get its debt rescheduled. If US stops supporting the Ethiopian government, Ethiopian economy could be in trouble. If US starts backing Eritrea again, that could be problematic for Ethiopia. So good relations with the US matter a lot for the Ethiopian government. But I think we'll see the impact of this call between the two leaders in coming days. What will the Ethiopian government focus on in coming days? On Tigray, on Amhara, Oromia, on regional peace? That will determine the contents of this call. Secondly, viewers, the issue of Birtukan Masgan Tabbide is turning into a controversial issue. The lady shared her painful story on EBS that she was kidnapped by armed men in 2019 and raped. After that, we saw counter campaign to prove that Birtukan was part of a plan. She had been launched to create ethnic conflict. EBS aired Birtukan story. Fana TV, state-backed television channel, last night produced and aired a counter documentary challenging Birtukan's case. And Fana's documentary claims as if it was all done to ignite ethnic conflict between Amharas and Oromos, and Birtukan was used by people living abroad, people like Miaza and others. Her phone call with Miaza has also been released. It was being hoped, or it was being planned, that she would be flown out of Ethiopia after the EBS interview, but she was taken into custody. Her husband did not know what she was doing, that she was going to appear on EBS. Her parents are alive, according to Fana. So Fana claims to have exposed the fake victim story done by EBS. And Fana TV is accusing diaspora elements, Amhara diaspora elements, of plotting this incident to create an ethnic friction between Oromos and Amharas. Birtukan still in custody. I think that at least Birtukan should be allowed to be investigated to be contacted by independent media, independent investigators, human rights organizations. Only then can truth come out. She's in custody. She won't be able to speak her mind. Her husband under duress as well. So truth will only come out if uh, human rights organizations, international media, they're allowed to contact and talk to Birtukan freely without any pressure. And if she's allowed to speak without any pressure, only then can the truth come out. But it's very unfortunate that such an incident is turning into a controversial incident. If Birtukan was part of the plot to ignite ethnic conflict, obviously she should be punished. But if she is just a victim who suffered and she made some mistakes as she was being used by some diaspora elements, it does not mean that she did not went through, she didn't go through an ordeal. Thank you for watching.